I like these cases. Mixed material cases are my favorite. Kevlar, metal pieces everywhere. This thing is a chef's kiss, but it's pretty thin, so how do you think it's gonna do protection-wise? I'm testing 50 cases to find the best 5. This is review 31 out of 50. Because I'm a reviewer, not an influencer, for the iPhone 17s, my scoring system is based on what the iPhone actually feels when it hits the ground on its corner, on its face, as well as on its camera lump. Each case gets dropped at least 30 times. So when I say it's terrible, it's because I've got the data to back it up. Now, I was unimpressed with Benks last year. They decided to cheap out by removing their removable buttons, but this year, they're all back. Now, this case looks pretty simple. It's basically Kevlar wrapped in some TPU. They're actually allowed to use the word Kevlar. Now, we haven't seen this feature in a while. The back of this case doesn't actually sit on the back of the iPhone. There is a bit of a lip between this part and the edge of the back, which is going to be useful. Another neat feature is the camera lump. It's all metal and it is extremely thin. I'm afraid to drop this on my wooden countertop because it's going to leave a mark. When it comes to weight, this thing is only going to add 37 grams to your iPhone. Average is 50. Going to bulk it up by 47 tiny percent. This is a tiny case, especially when compared to this Pelican thing I reviewed last video. Now, when it comes to using your iPhone in this case, the handling wise, it's not terrible. It feels pretty slick. The one thing I wish Benks did with this product was take the texture of the back and add it to the Kevlar that's found on the edge of the cases. This is very smooth. This is not. It would work so much better if that was the case. This case features flow-through buttons, which are metallic, and like the Ridge case, the area around the buttons is raised, so it kind of gives it a neat feel. Camera control button is covered as well, and there's also a bit of a notch for your fingers to find it. Port outlet's going to be big enough for your fattest cables. And for the pinky proper uppers, it's not too bad. It's a little sharp. Screen access is top notch because the case edges are very, very low. Whoa. Now, when it comes to Magsafe, pulling things off took about 8.2 newtons. To push things off took about 8.5 newtons. That's 14% below average, but those values are very close to what Apple does with their cases. So not terrible, really. This case has corners that are 1.5 millimeters thick, and the back is only 1.3 millimeters thick. Remember, the back of the iPhone doesn't sit on the back of the case. I'm assuming there's a 0.2 millimeter gap between the iPhone and the back of the case. When it came to case rigidity, this thing took 46 newtons to bend 8 mils. That's 61% above average. Not bad. Now, I've always been told Kevlar is really good for impacts. So when it came to corner drops, my iPhone recorded 7.2 G's. Yeah, that's an impressive 32% below average. The amount of tumbling the case did after the corner drop, that was lower by 40%, but it did take 10% longer to settle down. And the total force was 20% lower. So this tiny little case does exceptionally well at 3 feet. You could definitely tell where I did all my drop tests on. Now, this corner does well in terms of corner drops because of the Kevlar. Even though the bottom, this part is mostly TPU, the Kevlar edge does get caught in it. So when your iPhone does this, the shock goes through all these Kevlar fibers. And because Kevlar is a woven material, everything kind of flexes and like changes shape with the impact. Add to the fact that you've got that air gap between the back of the iPhone and this case, creates kind of a suspension effect. You get a case that is exceptionally efficient in terms of corner drops. But this efficiency only works for products that have Kevlar in the corners, because products like this Ridge, they do well, but not as well because the corners are just pure TPU, unlike the Benks Prestige, which is, well, not. I don't know about you, but seeing that in action, pretty cool, like so cool. When it comes to those drops, I'll be honest with you, that made me a little sad, but I think it's because of a build quality issue. For the iPhone 17's case, manufacturers seem to have a big issue with the top part of the case, because if you look along the rest of this case, you can barely see the color of my iPhone, but at the top, you definitely can see the orange. You can definitely tell that there is a fit issue right at the top of this case. Add to the fact that the edges of this case are super shallow. Anytime that happens, that's the sound of the screen hitting this table, so Now, the camera lump is propped up by this very thin metallic edge. Totally thought this wasn't going to do anything when that happened. But the initial impact was 12% lower. The settling rate, not great. It was 22% slower. And the total force was very average. Those numbers are good enough for me. So in the process of trying to find the 5 best cases for the iPhone 17, I've done it like a cutoff style. Any product that fails in the 3 feet drop tests, they don't make it to the next round. This thing does fail the face first drop test, so technically it shouldn't go to the next round, but given that this thing only saw 7 point something G's during the corner drops, yeah, I'm totally gonna drop this from 4 feet. If it passes, go and bump up to 5 feet to figure out, how well it does. So if you want to see more case reviews, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'm going to release this video as soon as I finish editing it, 9:30 a.m. the morning after. Thanks for watching.